Okay, so this is the boring profit blueprint for service-based business. So basically, most people, most entrepreneurs I know, they actually get bored in their business and they lose focus. It's like the number one thing that you can do as far as an entrepreneur is keep your focus on the thing that's actually making money. Because, I mean, if you want to make money, if you want to be creative, if you want to tinker around in a lot of things, that's cool. That's fine. But just know that you're actually giving up a lot of profit. So you have to have, if you can just focus on the thing that's actually working and then just scale that without messing with it too much, then, you're going to have more profit. Okay. But the tendency is to jump from thing to thing because it's interesting and fun and new. But actual businesses that actually just crank money and like obscene amounts of profit are very systematized, which gets boring to entrepreneurs. So just know that if you're a creative person, you're probably going to want to jump from thing to thing. So what do you do? What is the super simple profit blueprint? Pretty simple. You need leads. So you need marketing. You need some type of marketing, social marketing, advertising, whatever. You need somebody to know you exist. Pretty simple, right? Then somebody's got to go do the selling. Somebody's got to pick up the phone, work the leads. Somebody's got to actually make an offer for whatever the thing is, right? And then somebody's got to fulfill on the thing that you sold. Okay. Like you actually have to go paint the house. If you sold a painting job, you got to go paint the house now. Okay. And it has to be done right. It has to be on time and on budget. And then you got to collect the payments. So if you did 10% down and 90% due upon final walkthrough, or you did 30% down and 70% due at the final walkthrough, somebody's got to collect those payments because the speed at which you collect the payments and move on to the next job affects your cash flow, right? And then finally, you need to ask for reviews and referrals the day that you collect the payment. And you're like, was this a 5-star experience? Is there anything that we could do to make you happier? How would you feel about writing us a review? And then you take those things and that becomes more fuel for here, right? And then the whole thing starts over, which is super boring, really. But this is where all the profit is. The faster you can get out. Okay, so like if you're in this situation where it's like, well, right now I'm doing all of these things. Okay, so step one is how do I get out of doing all these things? Because if you're doing every single one of these things, it means that you're going to be stuck doing that. You can't grow. If you're doing all of this, you can't grow. So the very first thing of all of this to know to outsource is this: fulfillment. This usually can be done by people that are less skilled at this and this, right? Or they don't want to do this or this, right? Those are two different things, right? But the fulfillment piece is I just want to show up and paint every day and my life is great. Cool. If that's the case and you're the business owner, the highest leverage thing you can do immediately is to stop doing any of this. Never touch a paintbrush, never touch a hammer, never put in new floors, just never, unless you want to do it for fun or something, right? But this is the first step to outsource. You can't outsource this. You can't outsource this. People jump to this. They're like, I'll outsource the marketing because I just like to do this. Okay, but just know that if you've never done this, you're probably going to be really bad at it, and whoever you hire can take you for a ride and then get you no additional sales. So, where to start here? Outsource the fulfillment, okay? And then just do the rest of this stuff. You have to do the rest of this stuff. But you can't do this unless you have reviews and referrals. You can't get sales unless someone knows you exist. You got to get a lead, right? And there is no fulfillment without leads and marketing and sales. Okay. And there's no collections if there's no fulfillment. So when you're looking at this, you're trying to figure out where do I start? How do I scale? How do I grow? Get this part done first. Okay. And a lot of times these guys can help you with this. So like at the end of the job, the walkthrough is like, cool, you know, 70% is due now. Are you 100% satisfied? Yes, cool. We'd like to collect our 70% now. Swipe the card, have the guys do the collections right then. And you can also have these guys who are doing the fulfillment say, awesome, thank you so much. Just curious, you know, if you were to rate our service on a scale of 1 to 5, what would your experience be? I think a 5, go, cool. Put a phone in their hand and say, would you mind writing a review for that? Or would you mind writing us a review and make sure you mention my name, and then you pay these guys 50, $100 or whatever for every 5-star review that they get. But the fulfillment can be done here. The collection should be done with these guys, the referrals and reviews. So they get the review and they're like, hey, I'm just curious, is there anybody else you think could possibly, you know, who might be looking for a painting service? Like, well, no. Okay, well, cool. Here's our card. If you know anybody, we would certainly appreciate it if you would let them know about our service. Okay. So that's step one. And then all your focus needs to be on this piece next. Like, I need to be selling. How do I get more sales? Well, through marketing. And eventually you outsource the sales piece. So you can train up sales guys to go out and do this. And then you just focus on this. And eventually you're just a business owner and you can outsource this and all of this stuff. And you just own the entire business. Okay. That's the highest leveraged thing, is you own the business and you have people that do all of this stuff for you. But this is an old but gold saying right here. You got to work on the business and not in the business. If you're doing this stuff, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to be able to grow. And this is why you see like mom and pop shops that the business owner has a mom and pop shop and they live and die there, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Just saying, if you actually want to grow beyond this one level, you have to use human capital to do this stuff. And AI is not going to go and paint houses, at least not right now. It's probably not going to be able to sell people, you know. It can do some of this. It can help you write ads, right? You know, but I mean, for the most part, this is a manual job.